So this is going to be a short video because I have a call in about an hour. Um, I'm going to see if I can keep my comments short. Some people have asked for shorter videos, so here's a shorter one. But this is designed to help those of you who are new to the channel. The channel is getting more subscribers all the time, and a lot of people coming onto the Q&As are new people and newer subscribers. And so I want to help you get the most out of my channel. As it so happens, I'm also going to be giving you information that could potentially help you to reduce thousands of years of karma off of your future karmic issues. And this is really what a true teacher is designed to do. So you have to make the decision whether or not you consider me a true teacher or not. That's up for you to decide. But I can tell you that a true teacher has this ability. What a teacher cannot do is a teacher cannot take karma away from what you have already brought with you. Those are things you're going to have to work through. But some of those things you can work through instantaneously by shifting. But in order to shift, there are some things you got to do. And what a teacher can do is, especially in critical moments, especially when a teacher is giving you something that you may experience in the moment as being harsh or intense or overwhelming. What the teacher is doing in that moment is giving you something that can change your understanding and shift you into a new connection to the universe that will erase what would have been thousands of years of karmic junk that you would have taken on as a result of that, the actions and the thought processes. And so teachers, for the most part, they teach A, B, C, D, F, and G. Teachers can also be very loving and nurturing. And teachers can also be harsh and all of that. But a real teacher at some point is going to give you some information that is going to radically shift you. And it will most likely be information that will not be pleasant for your ego to experience. So I'm going to give you some tips on how to get the most out of my channel now that I'm thinking about it, because new people come onto my channel, and I don't want you to waste your time. I want you to learn and benefit from my channel as quickly as possible. And so I'm going to share with you how to do that. Some of the things I'm going to suggest doing are also going to be things that can shift you and erase thousands of years of karma. As I said, that sounds like a very egotistical thing for me to say. But if you come to the conclusion that you think I am an authentic teacher, then this will be true about me. If you come to another conclusion, which you're perfectly welcome to do, then you can decide what you want to do on that. But let's talk about how to best make use of your time here. So let me give you some lists here. A list of things that will help you the most on my channel. So take a look at this. So what is bringing this to mind is because we are in an astrological phase right now, and by the way, I teach Vedic astrology, not Western astrology, so some things may be different. But we have a very interesting scenario where we have both Saturn and Jupiter retrograde. And what this means is that it's a very powerful time to learn, because Saturn and Jupiter together are working to give intense learning. Learning where Jupiter retrograde gives you that lightning bolt, because Jupiter is the lightning god. Indra, Thor, Zeus, Jupiter, the god of lightning and thunder, gives that lightning awareness. very intense. Saturn retrograde says we are going to burn away a lot of karma, and you are going to be released, oftentimes by becoming aware on a conscious level of things you've been holding on to, which may be challenging for you, may feel like a death to let go of some of those things you've been holding on to. We have this happening. On the shift, on the other side of that, teachers are being examined very closely. So one of the things that's happening is, on the one hand, teachers are giving out lightning bolts to people and slapping their students, not literally, but not physically, but um, metaphorically slapping some sense into their students. And so we have this shift, but students are testing their teachers. Now, I always get tested and I always get trolled. That's just part of being on YouTube and, having something to say. It's just part of what happens. I'm getting a lot of people who really want to take me to task on something. They want to ask me questions. Some of my students are asking me questions and testing me with the questions, and some just random people are coming in onto the channel trolling me with questions. And this is good too. But what will happen is that you get the best of both worlds, because you're going to get from when a teacher is in his or her essence, the lightning is going to come out right now, and the karmic release is going to come out. And so he or she may say something to you that may sound harsh, it may sound critical, and they're doing it to release you. It's that slap across the face that's going to wake you up and release you from something that's been holding you back for thousands of years. And at the same time, students are going to be testing their teachers and finding out teachers that are false teachers. That this is the time that this will happen. The truth is going to come out in a lot of areas, in politics and in religion, and so teachers are being tested as well, and the truth of them will be revealed. But also what happens is the student will reveal their ignorance, their childishness, where they need to grow. And so for students who are resisting learning, who are resisting change, one of the ways they do that is they're going to attack teachers. Now, this is not a criticism. This is actually a very good thing, because this is how new teachers are born. So let me give just one tip. This isn't in the list here, but this is a good tip. If you find yourself wanting to go onto YouTube and to troll people's channels and tell them where they're wrong. This is one of the things that I'm getting. People are going to show me where I'm wrong, and here's something you need to know, and here's where you're mistaken, and blah, 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 blah. If you're doing that, it means that you have a destiny to be a teacher. And the thing to do is to go and start teaching. Don't waste your time trying to correct somebody else. Because when you're going to correct a teacher, if you're a student, a teacher, whether they're authentic or not, is really not interested in you correcting them. They don't want that. And they're not going to listen to you. So the only thing you're doing is you're puffing up your own ego, and it's going to frustrate you. That is also a good thing. So if you find yourself frustrated with teachers, with people in general, people above you, and you're wanting to put them in their place, if you're wanting to show them, I know something too, it means you're supposed to go off and teach. Go create your own channel. Go write your own books. Go create your own videos. Don't waste your time correcting somebody else. Listen, teachers make mistakes, and just like anything else, technology, new technologies, new ways of thinking come in, and the old has to go out and the new has to come in. And so it's only natural that you're going to find something wrong with a teacher. And listen, I'm not talking out of school here. Everything I say, it takes one to know one. There was at one point in time where I could have had a career as a comedian. I could have done stand-up. You don't see me do it a lot here, but I do a lot of impressions. I'm actually quite a funny guy. The way I got into that was I went to a comedy club, a very famous comedy club in Los Angeles here, And I was thinking to myself the whole time, I could do better than them. I could do better than them. They're not funny, you know. And as I was leaving the club, I said to myself, well, why don't you prove it? It's easy. It's one thing to say that, it's another thing to do it. So I went and did it. And I became a comedian. I would do stand-up, and I could have had a career, but I sabotaged it, and that's a whole other thing. I started this channel for those reasons. I got kicked out of the sect that I was in. My teachers disowned me. And part of the reason was because I was moving in new directions and I was changing the ways that I did things. I didn't think I was better than them or knew more than them. They were more powerful than me and still are in many ways. But that's how all of this started. I can remember listening to a teacher who I thought was full of crap. I still think he's full of crap. But he put himself out there as the new prophet of Taoist teaching, and he started his own, you know, what from the outside looks like a cult, but he started his own thing. And I remember thinking to myself, this guy doesn't know anything he's talking about, you know, and what he would say was that the God of Taoism appeared to him. And, you know, if you're listening to me and you don't know what I'm talking about, Taoism is actually a polytheist religion. It's not just the Tao Te Ching. That's Taoist philosophy. Taoist religion is a polytheist, a very in-depth polytheist religion. And he believed that the highest god of the Taoist pantheon had appeared to him and made him the prophet for Taoism. And I thought, what a load of crap, blah, blah, blah. And I felt something. You know, somebody in the ethers stopped and said, how do you know? How do you know that he isn't going to start something that's going to create a new brand of Taoism? And that stopped me in my tracks. And I learned something. I learned something about teachers. Teachers are human. Sometimes the universe will pick a teacher or a person to be a vessel, and they can be very human. I can name a few. I'll name one. He's dead. I'm not hurting his feelings. There's a couple. One is Carlos Castaneda. Brilliant writer. If you read his books, especially his first books, last couple he gets kind of loopy, but his first books, brilliant. Learning, you know, that what he teaches about to be an impeccable warrior, absolutely, fundamentally changed the way that I thought, and I still live by that, even though he was a total fraud. Total, complete fraud. Another one is Osho. Osho, if you remember Osho, before Osho was Osho, he was Bhagwan Rajneesh. If you don't know what the word Bhagwan means, it means God. It means the Almighty God. He was calling himself God. And I lived through that. You know, there's some, I think there's some movies about him that I don't know how they paint it, but the guy was a nutbag. The guy was a total drug addict as well, and he died, I believe, addicted to drugs. But he was just a nutcase. But he was another person that people follow. Now, I personally believe very strongly the guy was a fraud, a hypocrite, and a nutcase. But he started something that still continues today. Same thing with Castaneda. Castaneda was a fraud, but a brilliant writer, and the universe absolutely used his genius to share truths. Total fraud and nutcase. I come here to share with you that I believe that the universe has and continues to give me stuff that is my job to share with the world, and I've done that through books. And I'm the first one to tell you that I am human, and whatever personal criticisms or judgments you have about me may very well be true, and I don't deny any of that. Nevertheless, I'm telling you with as much wonder as everybody else, somebody has given me some stuff that I believe is my job to give out to others. So I do. So I've learned a lot about, now that I'm on the other side of this, now that I'm finally, you know, I got gray in my beard here, so I'm no longer running around training with other masters. I am now the one who's, you know, teaching, even though I still do have a teacher that I go to. And I've learned that a lot of the stuff that teachers used to do that used to frustrate me, that I thought was coming out of ego and I thought was coming out of limitation, you know, they were right. You know, the thing about an authentic teacher is that, An authentic teacher, the majority of their essence will not want to be a teacher. The majority of their essence will not want to have a large following. I say the majority of it because there has to be a part of them, there has to be a part of their ego that needs that. So there has to be a part of their ego where they do need to be respected, and they do, and I have that. I need to be respected, you know, in all aspects of my life. If people do not treat me with respect, I do not allow them in my life. And they get one chance, and if they screw up in a big way, they're gone forever. That's my ego. I acknowledge that. So you have to have that in order to be a teacher, because otherwise, if you didn't have that, they wouldn't even bother. They wouldn't even bother trying to tell anybody anything. But for the most part, you know, a true authentic teacher does not want a big following, does not need to create a cult. You know, I have no interest in that, which is why, you know, a lot of times people reach out to me and want to connect with me on a personal level. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit. And I always rebuff them. And a lot of them get their feelings hurt and they don't understand. But it's because I don't want that. If I want a friend, I have friends. If I want to have a relationship, I'll have a relationship. But teacher-student thing, that's not really something that I personally need. I don't need to do it all the time. What I need to do is get this stuff out. That's what I need to do. As it so happens, some people seem to get something from it. So let's walk through this list here. Again, I have a limited amount of time. I got about 50 minutes before I need to take a call. So I may or may not take some questions today, but let's walk through this list here. So, first one is, all right, binge watch the free videos, please. There are, I think, 382 free videos on the YouTube channel, the free YouTube channel. And it's, you know, I got another recent comment on one of my videos, somebody getting upset because, you know, they didn't say this, but they didn't bother to get specific about it, but they were upset because I charge $200 an hour for private sessions. When somebody reaches out to me and wants a private session with me, that's going to cost you $200 for an hour of my time. And this person said something disparaging about that and all that. And I went back and responded, and I said, you know, and it made me think, because it does hurt my feelings and it does piss me off because of the amount of time that I give free stuff out there, and the stuff that I have on the YouTube channel, the free stuff, is worth thousands and thousands of dollars. Some of the teachings on there are stuff that I'm not supposed to be teaching. Some of the teachings on there are things that I either would have had to pay or did actually have to pay a lot of money and a lot of time to learn, and they're out there for free, and some of them have almost no views. So if you really are interested in learning from me, then go and binge watch the channel. Just binge watch all of the videos that you can. There are more energy practices on there. There are more meditations and mantras and hand seals and ritual things and rune stuff. There's more stuff on there than you can practice in one lifetime. So it's not like I just have a few things on the free stuff and then I teach the real thing, blah, blah, blah. There's stuff on the free channel that you won't find anywhere else, and that, you know, if you decide to put the effort into any one of them and spend the rest of your life committed to any one of them, they can give you everything, completely change your life and give you the power that you're looking for. But you get what you pay for. That's one of the reasons why they're not getting watched, because they don't cost anything. So people complain about not, you know, they don't have any money and why do teachers have to charge? And that's your own thing. If you do that at any point in time, if you spend any point of your life talking about why do people charge and why, that's your deal. You are creating that. Not just for me. I know it's true with other teachers as well. But let's talk about that. Why do people need free teaching? If you ever have felt this, and I have felt this before in my life. There was a time when I would have said this, and I've certainly heard it from a lot of people. But if at any point in time you find yourself saying that, you know, that should be free, I get this a lot, like, you know, for Vedic astrological readings. There's been more than a few people who have come to me and said that I should teach. If I were a real teacher, I would teach that for free. That's, you know, They obviously don't understand how much time and effort I put into learning it, how much time and effort goes into every reading, how long it does that. And listen, my time is valuable. And if you want my time, I'm happy to give it to you, but you're going to have to pay for it. Just as like if I was a plumber, do you expect plumbers to work for free? Do you expect the grocer to give you free groceries? Do you expect everybody to give you free stuff? No, of course you don't. But what is it about wanting spiritual teachers to work for you for free? Where does that come from? Well, it does come from things like childishness. It does come from uh, the immature entitlement, feeling that everybody owes you something. This is something that children go through. That everybody owes you something. But what about the adults? What about adults who don't have a problem paying for cell phones, paying for their car, paying for cable television, paying for, going to the dispensary and getting their weekly weed? They don't have a problem paying for that, but they do have a problem paying a spiritual teacher for some kind of spiritual teaching or a healing. This is another one. Somebody said, that they don't have any money, but they heal people for free. And I said, that's why you don't have any money. And by the way, if you heal people for free, you're not helping them. That's a whole other subject. But back to the question, why? Why would an adult assume that a spiritual teacher should teach them for free? I'm going to tell you the answer to that question. It's because they did not get, or they feel they did not get, unconditional love from their parents. So they want to get it from a teacher, because the teacher does represent that. The teacher does unconsciously represent the universe, God, whatever word you want to use. We're not, but we represent that to your unconscious. So if your unconscious is responding and childishly demanding that teachers give you their time for free, it means you want them to be your daddy or your mama. And teachers are not your mother or your father. They are not your friend. They're not your mother, your father, or your friend. They are there to slap you out of your ignorance, to jolt you out of your unconsciousness. That's their job. This is why, and every now and then I kind of keep testing it, and every time it slaps me in the face. I never get personally involved with any of my students. Never. Because that's not my job. My job isn't to be your friend. My job isn't to be your parent or your lover. If you are wanting that from me, first of all, it's a good sign. It means on an unconscious level, the universe is speaking to you through me. So that is a good response. But it also means that there's something you didn't get from your parents. You didn't get enough love and attention from your parents, and so you're demanding it from your teacher. Now, you should demand it from your parents, especially your mother. Your mother is designed to give you unconditional love, especially when you're a child. But that's the only place you're going to get it. And a good teacher won't allow you to stay in that place. A good teacher is going to force you to work for your enlightenment and for your awareness. Okay? So let's see, what else do we have on the list here? Best way to get things out of my channel is to go to the ThunderWizarddotcom website and subscribe. Subscribe at the $25 level. What you're going to get is you're going to get weekly private videos. If you start from the beginning, you can learn in-depth, step-by-step shamanism. You can learn how to create rituals. You can learn how to work with the 9 worlds of the world tree, with the 8 directions, with the 5 elements, with the 3 centers of the body and the 3 centers of the universe. You'll learn divination and runes. You'll learn a lot of stuff that I can't teach on the free YouTube channel. And you'll get that every week. It's also the best way to support this work. If what you want is for me to do more videos, then go and subscribe. at the $25 level. I think I'm booked up on all the other levels except for the really ones. And truth is, you know, as time goes on, I'm going to do less and less personal stuff with students. So every time I lose a student, I just keep closing. I mean, a private student, I keep closing it off. Eventually, I may just work on videos and have a very small core group of apprentices. So now's the time. Now's the time to do that. Get those private sessions with me if you want. So let's see, what else do we got here? Okay, this is a huge one. I would say that 95%, at least 95% of the questions I get on the live Q&A and on the comments section, and if you email me, all those questions, 95% of those questions are answered in the materials. So to get the materials, you go to, do I have it on there? Yes, you go to here. You go to michaelwilliamdenny.com. That'll show you all of my books. Start reading the books. Start, listen, they're cheap. And I don't make a ton of money off the books. Each book I make almost nothing off of it. So it's not like I'm, getting rich off the books. I wish that would be nice if that ever happens, but that's not what the case is. But those books are, when something gets downloaded into me. Here's how this is my experience with the universe. My experience with the universe is that the ancestors have something, it's more like a computer program, best way to describe it, that will completely shift the human race to another level of awareness, to a higher level of awareness. And I get downloaded this knowledge usually in these chunks. And they're like compressed files. And I can understand them, but I can't verbalize them because they're compressed. And so in order for me to be able to understand them and verbally teach them and talk about them, I have to write. And so these books are me getting these compressed files out so that I can function, because otherwise I can't function. I'm just obsessed with this information, this holographic information that's been put inside of me. And it's been put inside of me so that I'll release it. It's not just for me. Also, the thing to know about teachers is teachers don't get knowledge for their own benefit. It may benefit them personally, but the knowledge they get is for the rest of the world. And so a teacher teaches not because they feel that I am the king of the universe. It's because if they don't barf it out, it just drives them crazy. So that's why I say, people, if what you want to do is criticize other teachers and troll people's channels and tell them where they're wrong and I know something too, well then go teach. That's your job. Go teach. Don't waste my time telling me how much you know. I don't care. Nothing personal. I just got my own life. I don't care how much you know. Okay, we'll talk more about that a little bit. So let's see, what else do we got here? You have to be willing to empty your cup. It's kind of what I was just saying. Coming onto my channel or coming onto my Q&A or trolling my YouTube, and if at any point in time you want to tell me how much you know because I haven't responded the way you wanted, and you say, I know something too, you should listen to other people, then you need to empty your cup. I don't care. You may well know far more than me in all kinds of areas. I'm sure you do. I totally don't care. I have no interest in what you know. If you are coming onto my channel because there's something that I have that you want, you think I have something to teach you, in order for me to teach you, you got to forget what you think you know. When you go to train in martial arts, you could be a master judo practitioner. You want to go and learn how to box, you're going to have to forget that you know judo. You want to be a kickboxer, and you've been a boxer your whole life. You're going to have to learn to forget what it is to be a boxer, because now your stance and everything else is going to have to change, the distance and all of that, because that guy's going to come at you with his feet, and he's going to stand differently. He's going to do different stuff. You want to go up against a kendo master or somebody who's a master of swords, they're going to do something else totally different. You better forget what it is you think you know. You got to change your footwork. I'm a surfer, and I'm just getting ready to learn stand-up paddleboard surfing. Totally different thing. I can't just walk out there with I got to learn. I got to stand differently and get into waves differently and ride the board differently. You got to forget what it is you think you know. So empty your cup. If you're a genius and you're smart and you know all that, then you have to ask yourself, are you here to learn or are you here to teach? If you're here to teach, go somewhere else. If you're here to learn, forget what it is you think you know. You can pick it up later. It'll be there waiting for you. Don't worry. Okay? So empty your cup. This is a modern thing because, a lot of, especially I see this in the newer subscribers. Some of those have been around for a while, they know. But the newer subscribers, I see this, and it's not anybody's fault. This is our society. Part of it is that we do not have teachers in modern Western society who understand traditional teaching. And that's because we don't have them. And the reason we don't have them is because, 2,000 years ago, Christianity came in and wiped out original teaching. The original, what I would use the word shamanic teaching. Teaching that has an unbroken connection into prehistory. I didn't come up with that myself. I had to learn from teachers who had an unbroken connection into prehistory. My African teachers, my East Indian yogic teachers, my Taoist teachers. All of them practiced something that had an unbroken connection into prehistory. I haven't worked with all of them, but the very few, like Western magical traditions that I've tried to work with, they don't understand this. And I can see that. And it's not their fault, it's our society. So you got to forget what it is you think you know. There's another thing is that when you don't know something, you don't know that you don't know it. And so another phrase that I found to be really helpful is, you don't know what you don't know. You may think you know everything, and maybe you do know a lot, but you don't know what you don't know. So if you want to learn, empty your cup. Forget what it is you think you know. You can pick it up later. Okay, this is coming up a lot. I'm talking about it a lot more, and at first it kind of bugged me and I didn't like saying it, but I want to explain to you why I do this. A lot of times people will come on the Q&A, usually new people, and they'll want to ask me about some other teacher or some other teaching or some other practice or some other something. And, is that like so-and-so? Or they'll say, question, I learned such and such from so-and-so, and this reminds me a lot of that. And first off, that's not a question. But second, that doesn't serve you. So first, let me get the human part of me out of the way, because there's two parts of this. The first one is that I'm a human. And from a human perspective, it doesn't inspire me to want to help you if you mention somebody else. Guys out there, test this. Take your girlfriend or your wife out to dinner and ask your girlfriend about other women that you've dated, and ask them what they think about the sex that you had with some other woman. And let me know how that goes. More than likely, that dinner will not go very well. Now, go to the beach. Bring your girlfriend or your wife to the beach, and when some hot bikini model walks by, ask your wife what she thinks about how beautiful that woman's ass looks in that bikini, and then please tell me how well that went for you. Now, I happen to have been lucky. My fiance, who's no longer with me, she would have enjoyed that. But most women, you do that, you're going to be in big trouble. It could be a deal breaker. So that's what it's like. I know you're coming on and you're excited because I've said something that reaches into you and it's opened you up and it reminds you of something somebody said, and you want to connect with me and say, is that like what so-and-so said in his teaching? And because I think that's great. But what you don't realize is, as a teacher, it's like me, being the woman next to the husband who's telling me, do you think that her ass looks really hot in that bikini? It's just not a turn on. It doesn't make me want to teach you. So that's the human part of me. I do have a human ego. The other part is that I'm an egotistical, self-centered a-hole. And I'm totally full of myself, and all I really want to do is talk about what I want to talk about. I don't want to talk about somebody else. Having said that, that's different from an actual question. If you ask me an honest question because you don't understand and you want me to tell you about time travel or shifting timelines or energy work or connecting with the ancestors, I'm going to want to answer you. And I'm going to want to help you as best I can. But I'm really not interested in how much you know. Here's another thing. Now, the human part out of the way, let me tell you the spiritual part of it. This goes back to you don't know what you don't know. A lot of times when people talk about other teaching or other traditions, what they don't understand is that their brain is doing what it knows how to do, which is it hears something that stimulates it and it tries to look for something to compare it to that it can understand. But more often than not, you're wrong. And it's not because you're a bad person, it's because you just don't know what you don't know yet. And so it doesn't serve you to try and compare it to what somebody else or some other teaching said. And when you do that, this is the most important part of what I'm trying to tell you. When you do that, that is an unconscious method of avoiding a major shift. It means that something is about to shift in you to another level of existence. You're going to shift out of an old way of thinking. And that is frightening, because that kind of change means you have to die to yourself on a certain level. And so what your unconscious mind is doing is it's trying to keep you alive, and it's trying to look for an anchor, to anchor you into what you understand. And oh yeah, Gardnerian magic or Wicca or, whatever it is. The Golden Order of the Dawn, whatever. So when you say such and such, that's like the Golden Order of the Dawn, and then I go through all my human stuff. But as a teacher, I also, it doesn't serve you, and it makes me want to slap you out of that and say, empty your cup. You don't know what you don't know. When in traditional teachings, when they make you do stuff you don't understand, it looks really harsh. Try going to a Chinese martial arts teacher, and in China they're going to do things like make you stand in a corner and do some funny thing that's going to be really difficult on one leg for an hour at a time, and you can't ask why. And the reason is because there's no point in telling you why, because you haven't even begun to experience what that's going to give to you. It's going to open energy centers in you that you didn't even know exist. Maybe you think you know, but you don't until you experience it. So that's one of the reasons why to do that. You can have all that stuff, and listen, if you can do what I did, and I heartily encourage you to do that, which is if you take what I'm teaching and it fits into, it fills a gap in some other teaching that you're doing, then go on your own time and put that together and go teach it. But don't take up your time with me wanting to talk about something or someone else. And now this is the surface level of it, which is true, which is I tell people it's disrespectful. You can see why it's disrespectful to me, because I don't want you to tell me about some other girl's ass and how her ass looks better than mine. I don't want to hear that. That's my ego. It's disrespectful to the other person. When you ask me about another teacher, you're disrespecting them because you're putting me in a position to either approve or disapprove of them. And if I disapprove of them, then you've asked me now to gossip about some other teacher. And you have fed into my ego, and you have seduced me into bringing the worst of my ego out, which is to tell why I think I'm better than some other teacher, or why some other teacher is wrong. It brings out the worst in me. And it brings out the worst in you. And again, it's a way for both of us to be diverted from our higher selves. So don't do it. Don't ask about other teachers. Bottom line is, it doesn't serve you. You will not learn. You will not learn with that mindset. Okay, what else do we got here? Okay, here's a big one. Practice the exercises. As I said, there are 382 free videos on my free YouTube channel, full of exercises that will empower you and change you. If you don't want to pay for a session, I totally get it, then pick one exercise, the Hool breath, Thor's hammer, the Indra's, the web of Indra exercise, just to mention 3. The Hool breath, did I mention that already? Pick one and do it every day. Do it. I challenge you to do it every day for an hour. 1 hour every day. And if you don't, if it doesn't completely transform you on all levels, then you have my permission to go and do whatever the hell you want somewhere else. But if you're coming onto my channel on a regular basis, if you're coming onto the Q&As, and you're somebody that wants to put your opinion out there, and you want to talk about this, and you want to talk about that, and you want to ask me this, and you're not, number one, watching the videos, and you're not doing the exercises, then you're wasting everybody's time, but especially your own time. What I am here to do is to shift you out of your thinking and to get you out of your head. This is where most Westerners live. We are trained to live in our intellect. We are trained to think our way out of our feelings. And your intellect cannot give you enlightenment. Enlightenment is something that has to be experienced, and you can only experience things through something that gets you connected to your body and gets you connected to life force energy, something that has practical effects and has practical reality. And thoughts and talking is worthless. You know, I mentioned the Tao Te Ching earlier. The Tao Te Ching is philosophical Taoism. What most people don't, even in China, don't know is that the Tao Te Ching is also a manual for meditation and for energy work. And if you understand what the symbolism, it's telling you how to sit, what mudra to use, where to put your energy, how to guide the energy. But if you haven't been physically taught how to do that, you'll never be able to pick it up and read it. This is why I got into teaching Norse shamanism, because the Norse mythology has within it instructions. And the Thor's hammer is one. You know, if you read the mythology about Thor, you find out things about him, that he has iron gloves, that he wears a belt that doubles his power. And he wears where do you wear a belt? Now, is this just interesting information? No. This is giving you exact information on how to attain the power of Thor. Thor is the power of thunder and lightning, life force energy. Now, because our ancestors walked away from the traditional teachings where a master teaches a student and teaches them and explains to them what's in the mythology, because we lost that, all we have now is we have a bunch of pagans and heathens and Asatru people running around asking, why do you think Thor has a belt that doubles his power? And they have no idea what it means. Because I've trained in traditions that have an unbroken connection into prehistory, I opened that up and I knew exactly what it meant. And it blew my mind. And I kept on reading and it kept on telling me more and more and more. What people don't know about the Havamal, the beginning part, the vision, where the man sees the king goes to Asgard and he sees the three kings, one on top of the other. That is a method for opening up chambers inside of the brain and opening up the 3 centers and becoming an immortal. And until you know and have practiced that, you'll never know what that is. It's just some cute story. This is what I'm talking about. You got to do the exercises. If you don't do the exercises, you're wasting your time. Maybe you're entertaining yourself, but ultimately you're not getting the most out of what I can give to you. Okay, lastly, think before you ask. Now, you can ask me anything you want. You don't know what you're going to get from me. I might respond harshly. I might deign to answer your question. But there are going to be times when I'm not going to answer your question. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start telling you why you asked the question. Because when you ask a question, more often than not, I see what it is that you really want. I see what your brain and your unconscious is doing. And instead of spending the time to answer some question that's not going to give you what you want, I'm going to go in there with my monkey wrench and I'm going to dismantle that within you. And it's, people, especially newer people, come on to the Q&As and they say, why is he such a dick? Because they think I'm criticizing him or whatever. But it's because I have a limited amount of time, and my job is to help you think differently. Asking questions is really important because that is how you learn from the universe. But the universe is far, what's the word I want to use, is far more ambivalent to your human indulgences than even I am. I relate to you because I'm human. But the universe, the life force energy that surrounds you, it loves you unconditionally. It wants nothing but your success, but it's also completely ambivalent to your human failings, to your human narcissism. That's the best way to look at it. It's completely, totally not interested in your narcissism. And so what happens is that we, out of our narcissism, out of our fear, out of our ignorance, out of our childishness, we all have to go through it. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with any of those things. We all have to grow past it. But when we're in that mindset, then what happens is we interact with the universe from that level. For instance, here's something I learned about being rageful. Being rageful, this is what I've learned about depression. These are ways that unconsciously people do this because they think the universe is going to take pity on them or feel guilty and give them what they want. Because that's what little kids do. They scream until they're blue in the face. They pound on the ground until mommy and daddy gives them what they want. Now, mommy and daddy are human, and so sometimes they give you what you want. The universe is not going to buy into that. You will kill yourself. This is what disease is. Disease, and I'm not trying to minimize it. I just lost my soulmate to breast cancer. Worst pain I've ever had in my life. I would do anything to have her back. She died of breast cancer. And I'm here to tell you that disease is a temper tantrum. It's a temper tantrum that has been pushed deep into the unconscious, and what ends up happening is that the body is what suffers, and the universe is not going to stop. The universe says, if you want to hold your breath until you're blue in the face until it kills you, I'm not going to stop you. If that's what you want to do, you go right ahead. I won't stop. So learning how to ask questions properly is going to train you how to connect to the universe and have the universe give you what you need and what you want. And this is the main thing I'm trying to do here. So that's why, number one, I like the Q&As, and that's why when we're doing the Q&As, I can be a real dick. Because if I see that you're trapped in your narcissism, or you're trapped in a way of thinking, you're stuck in your head, and you're asking questions in a manipulative way, you don't realize you do it, you've been trained to do it, you've been doing it your whole life, and you don't even understand it. But when you do it with me, I see it instantly, and I call you on it. And that is, I am more interested in getting you to learn how to ask the universe properly than I am in telling you how much I know. Because I could care less how much I know. I don't care what you know. I don't even care what I know. Truth is, I don't even know what I know. Most of the time, I don't even know something until you ask me. And then stuff comes out of me, and I go, holy crap, that came out of me? This is one of the reasons that I know I'm a teacher, is because I'm not aware of it. It comes out of me, and it impresses me. Now, my human part of me doesn't impress me so much, and you get to enjoy that. And I've never tried to hide that, and I never will. I will never try to hide my humanity from you, nor will I try to tell you that I'm anything other than just you, just another human being. Okay, so those are the questions. I've got about 15 minutes to take a short little break, and I'll come back. If there are any worthwhile questions, I'll answer them, and then I'm going to have to get off and take a call. I don't even know if anybody's watching right now. We'll see. Okay, I'm back. I think there might be a couple of questions. There was a question. Johnny Delgadillo said something I won't get into. My friend, it's not you. You didn't piss me off. Look, I know that you're one of my subscribers onto the ThunderWizarddotcom YouTube channel, but you and I don't have, that deep of a connection. The connection that you feel to me is really your connection to the infinite. We barely know each other, so we haven't talked a lot. I do see you on here, and sometimes I do laugh at some of the things you say, but it's not about you, man. That's your narcissism. We all have it, but you haven't done anything to anger me, just to let you know. But as your teacher, I'm pointing out to you that's your narcissism going off. You got to get out of yourself. Okay, well, you don't have to, but Suzanne Funk, question. Edgar Navarre, new to the channel. If you're going to write question, put question in all caps. Otherwise, I can't see it because I don't respond to anything unless it's a question. Hi, I have a question. When and how has Vedic astrology changed your life? Go onto my channel and type in Vedic astrology. I don't have time to talk about it here. It's a great question, but go watch my videos about it. Suzanne Funk, question. How accurate of a reading can I get not knowing the time of my birth? I do not know the time and both parents have passed. You have to know your exact birth time to get an accurate reading. There is a way to do that. It's called birth time rectification. Let me see, I'll write it down here for you. If I can find the thing, there it is. You can get one of these. I don't do it, but you can find a Vedic astrologer who will. So you're going to need to get your birth time rectified in order to be able to find out your exact time. Okay. Let's see. All right, so I don't see any more questions here. Great. Awesome. So yeah, I went through that as fast as I could. And as I'm getting deeper into this, what's happening is that I'm going to get more traditional in my teaching. So I've been on YouTube for a while. Some of you have been working with me for a while. So it's time for us to grow up a little bit. In the beginning, I had to try and do things, the YouTube way. But at some point, in order to learn, any teacher is going to have to take you out of your childishness and to help you to become more mature in your learning. And so I'm going to start employing that. And the reason why that is because I'm moving into a new phase coming up here very soon. I'm slowly trickling out bits and pieces of it, but I will eventually, it'll be another series, and I haven't decided exactly how I'm going to interface that with this, but it's going to be another series about how to become a perfected immortal. And it's about how to do exactly what's happening in this picture here. See, that individual has opened up the three centers, and the three centers are aligned. And this person has opened up the meridians of their hands and is able to intend with their energy, connected to all three of the energy centers, their perfect reality. And by doing so, it affects the reality of the actual earth. Because what you see is they're creating an earth. And that they're creating with their intention is going to have an effect on the actual physical earth. There is a technique to achieve that, and it's called the method of holding the three ones. And as I said, this is also in Norse mythology, although I don't know anybody who's been able to discover that. Maybe our ancestors, our pre-Christian ancestors did, but I have not seen anybody in modern times who knew what that symbolism meant. And I believe that I do. Because if you know where to look, you'll find it in other places in the world. So I'm going to be teaching that technique. And I'm giving you things that you need to know to get yourself prepared for that. So one is watch my videos and subscribe and get the books. Read my books. I put a lot of time and effort. There's a ton of books out there. Read them. and get an idea of what it is that I'm teaching. Don't just, I mean, you listen, you can do whatever you want. But if you're just coming onto the YouTube channel for entertainment because there's a bunch of other things you want to go, you know, it might be entertaining for you. But my job here is to, I can't really describe other than there's this feeling that I have that this is something that needs to happen. And it's something that will be beneficial for the whole world to go up to the next level. Listen, I'm going to reveal something to you. It's going to sound really egotistical, but I'm going to let you in on it. This is basically seen in my chart as well. If you look in my chart, I am not destined for fame in this lifetime. What I am destined for is to reveal knowledge that will shift the world into another level of existence. And what I teach in this lifetime is then going to be taken by people, and it will be perfected and practiced by later generations. So when I'm dead, when I'm gone, my teachings are really going to start to flourish. So I don't expect a whole lot. I don't expect to be big and famous, and I don't want it. I need to get this out, though. And this teaching feels like it's the capstone to everything else that I've been teaching. Everything I've been teaching up to this point has been laying the groundwork for this next teaching. This next teaching is going to take discipline, and it's going to take maturity. And if you don't have those things, you won't even be interested in what I'm teaching, but you won't even be able to do it. Because it's going to take discipline, it's going to take time and consistency. It's going to take years of practice. So if you're interested in learning that, you can go to send me an email. Just put in the topic of the email, just put in the 3 ones. Let me see, what am I trying to do here? Sorry, I'm confusing myself. Here's what I'm trying to do here. You can go to info at Thunder Shamanism, ThunderWizarddotcom, and put 3 ones in subject line. I don't even need an email. If you just put that in the subject line and put a smiley face, I'll know what to do with it. And I'll hold on to it. And I'm going to be telling everybody about it anyway, but I'll send you an email when I have more stuff about when and how it's going to come out. So that's the information there. I've got 5 minutes. Let's see if there's a question I can ask real quickly. How can I empty the cup? When you come and listen to me, just forget what you know. You know, you're not going to forget everything. Like I said, it'll be there when you need it. So just forget about it when you're talking to me and read my stuff, practice my stuff. If you haven't read my books or practiced the stuff I've taught, it's kind of pointless. All that stuff will help to empty your cup. Do I still teach Aish Yalmer? I might, but I only do it with people who live here and after I've decided that I really want to put the time and effort into teaching somebody. But at some point I probably will teach it again. Question, can I do Celestial Qigong more than once a day? Yep. Yes, you can. Just make sure that you ground yourself. Don't do it at noon. Don't do it between noon and like 4 in the afternoon because the energy is too hot. Outback Jack's question, Saturn, Mars, Sun, Mercury, Ketu in the 8th house in Pisces. Your thoughts? My thoughts are I'm not going to take the time to do your chart here. You know, if you want to talk to me or one of my apprentices, go get a reading from us if you haven't already. Alicia Cole, thank you. She loves the beard. Thank you so much. Will you consider opening up more first-level apprentice spots? It's just a lot of time. I'm open to it, but listen, if you're meant to be one of that, you will find a way to be one of that. But I just I like my free time too much. I don't want to be on the phone 18 hours a day. It's not how I want to live my life. So just got to wait. Sorry. Sandra Levini, question, although illness may be temper tantrum in response to one's thoughts, still we get older, sicker, and die. Do you have an explanation for this? Yeah, I've already given it. And I've talked about it before. Okay, that's all. I got to go. I got a call I'm going to take in about 5 minutes. So keep your eyes peeled, guys. A lot more to come. I'm kind of excited about where things are going. So that's it for now. I'll talk to you soon.